4 edition. Obviously, we have one game going on already. That one is kind of underwhelming, but hopefully Justin Jefferson can put up some more fantasy points for all the owners out there. Today, I'm joined as always by Gerson, Jamie, and Ben. First off, before we dive into any of the DFS, Gerson, how are you doing today?
I'm doing good. I'm excited for this week. This week is definitely like either you go studs or you go those Mariota or Gino.
It's a rough one. Ben, how are you doing?
I'm doing awesome, man. Just watching this game. Saints are about to score right now. They're on the 2-yard line. Let's get the week 4 going, baby.
Jamie, what about you?
I'm doing all right, except I did play Kamara in a lineup or two by accident. Didn't wake up in time.
We've all been there before at some point. What, the Andy Dalton one? Or am I on a delay?
No, it's a Latavius Murray touchdown.
What? All right, appreciate it. And then for Gerson, what morning game updates did you want to focus on? Were there any that adjusted your DFS real quick before I do a brief overview of some of the big ones from yesterday?
No, not really.
No?
Everything seems to be going the way I planned.
Okay. Now, as of right now, Zay Jones is out. That was the major one. Cordero Patterson is in.
Yep.
For yesterday, we had DJ Shark, Jameis Winston, Jacoby Myers, Keenan Allen, MT, Mac Jones, DeAndre Swift, David Montgomery, Monra St. Brown. The list kept going and going and going. A lot of people are out, so really make sure to check your lineups. Make sure you're ready to go. Other than that, though, Gerson, what do you got for us this week? This is the most important part.
So at quarterback, I got Josh Allen, and he's my elite quarterback. Honestly, to be honest with you guys, if you look at the sheet, I have all elite quarterback. So there's really not really another quarter. I'm paying up for quarterback. Josh Allen, I mean, guy has 30 DraftKings points in every start. Has a great matchup against the Ravens. Ravens look abysmal. When you make the Mac Jones look good, and he has the most 20 yards completion, I mean, that tells me something, you know. If Mac Jones and Devontae Parker can do it, I can only imagine what Josh Allen and Stephon Diggs can do, you know. Jalen Hurts at 8,200. I don't know, man. Like I've been saying it all year. I think Jalen Hurts could be a possible sneaky MVP candidate, you know. Like he's gonna get up there. If Jalen Hurts goes off in this game, he's gonna get priced at 9,000 next week. He's gonna go up in price. To me, he's a economic quarterback, so give me that game environment too. Lamar Jackson's the next guy. We're getting weather concerned. I'm not too worried about it in the Josh Allen Lamar Jackson showdown, but I love that correlation. Two great quarterbacks with each other. I'm gonna target them pretty heavy, really heavy this weekend. I just think.
I mean, I have to. I noticed in your notes you put MVP question mark. I mean, you're not wrong as of right now. The way they're playing.
Yeah.
I mean, what? So a question for you, real quick, for the people like myself who play a little less DFS when we're covering these quarterbacks. What really does 100 or 200 really do a lot in salary? Because I noticed, 8,400 for Josh Allen, 8,200 for Hurts, 8,300 for your next guy. Does that do anything?
No, not really too much because you're really building your roster correlations with your stack. I believe it's Ben that has his TV on, right? Hey Ben, you mind just turning that down because
sorry.
People are saying they can hear it. So
I was trying to figure out who it was. Thank you.
That was definitely me. I apologize.
No, you're good. I'm getting like private DMs from people. I'm like, I can't control it, dude.
Yeah, my bad. Definitely.
No, you're good. No, it doesn't make a huge difference, but what does make difference is the weapons he's gonna have with him. And if you look at my spreadsheet, which I put it in the chat, go ahead and look at it. I have all the plays I want to do to be able to pay up for these quarterbacks. The guy that I'm really looking at that I think is going to be basically, I think I've hit it on every week where I have like a sneaky quarterback, low owned, you know. Last week it was, what was it? It went off. Can't remember. I got to figure this stuff out sometime. But Justin Herbert this week versus in this game environment versus Houston. Oh boy. I think I picked his over under was like 275 or 265 for passing on Prize Pick, and I was like, "What?" I mean, I get Keenan Allen is out, but he's still cleaning out there, with Josh Palmer, Mike Williams, Jalen Guyton is out, but I don't really consider him like a big difference maker, and Gerald Everett. So give me Justin Herbert at 7,100. That's $1,000 cheaper. Well, almost 1,200, 300, or 400 difference from Allen, Lamar, and Jackson. And the stack is cheaper because you can do Palmer and Mike Williams or Gerald Everett.
So with all these quarterbacks, which quarterback are you doing the stack with that's in the most of your lineups? Which is the highest percentage of usage for you this week?
Oh, it's gonna be Stephon Diggs and Josh Allen for sure.
Okay.
I'm gonna do Josh Allen, Stephon Diggs, Isaiah McKenzie, and then run it back with either Bateman or Andrews.
And I noticed you don't have as many running backs this week.
No.
Do you want to give us those?
Yeah, so this week's running back is very straightforward. Obviously, Jonathan Taylor is always in play. That's fine. But the guy that I'm looking at is Daquan Barkley, 8,000. I think your price would have been higher if you didn't play in a Monday Night Football game. The price didn't get changed. But the thing I'm looking at his usage, he's going to get so much usage, so much volume because they're missing Wan'Dale Robinson, they're missing Kadarius Toney, Kenny Golladay forgot how to play football, and their tight ends are abysmal. I mean, they're like not really someone I want to play too much of. And then what's his name? Dable. I don't know like what he's thinking, but get Barkley on a screen pass, man. You get Barkley on a screen pass, it's like a cheat code, man. You can take it to the house. I mean, you get him in the open field, you got to be more creative. But Barkley just out there grinding, man. I love him at 8,000. Now, these next two guys are going to be shocked. But the reason why I'm putting these two guys, and I'm telling you guys, because I want to give you guys the best plays that I think are going to hit. And these two guys, I believe they both have a good reason to hit. But Jamal Williams, he's 6,100, great value. I like to call him fake shock, though. So, like, he's going to be one of the heaviest owned running back, but he can legit bust. So, maybe pivot to the next guy that I have, which is Khalil Herbert. But Jamal Williams to me, what's his name?
For Detroit?
Yeah, I know for Detroit, but the wide receivers I got hurt. DJ Shark, Amon-Ra St. Brown, and I can't remember the other guy that's hurt too for them, but
I mean it comes down to Hawkinson and then like their wide receiver 3. I don't know. For myself, I'm scared with the Detroit players this week just because a lot of their top weapons all over that offense are out. And I don't really want to depend on Jamal when, some of those main receiving guys aren't there. So I like what you're saying with Khalil going that route instead.
Yeah, so, I mean, I think one of the coolest prize picks, I'm telling you guys I've been killing on prize picks, so I'm giving you guys these advice because I've been playing them too. Jamal Williams over 2 receptions. I mean, the guy does have okay hand, so give me that. But Khalil Herbert, he's 5,700. He's the top play. He's my top play this week. Like my favorite value play, value per dollar. I have him projected for 18.5 points. He's a great player too. I think he might be better than David Montgomery. Gonna get great usage, great opportunity. I don't see this game being high scoring at all though. So I expect this game to like 3 and out. Like if I were to put a punt on prize pick, I'd probably go click those 2 team punter. But I don't bet on punters though. But
all right, real quick then on running backs. So Jamie, Khalil Herbert or Jamal Williams, who are you just in general for fantasy? Who are you liking more this week?
I'm probably gonna go Herbert.
What about you, Ben?
In DFS, I am playing both of them right now currently. But if
Okay.
I had a pick, I would honestly pick Jamal Williams just for the fact that what do they have on the lines? I think they're going to feed him. Yeah, I think he's in for a big workload.
And with that in mind, Gerson, what do you got for us at the wide receiver position?
So wide receiver to me, it's very dependent on heavily on my stack. So any of the quarterbacks I have, keep in mind the weapons they have. That's who you're probably going to play with them. Those are going to be my highest owned, but the guy that I like the most off them, Stephon Diggs, I already talked about him. He's the elite guy. Stud, game environment, projection. I have him projected for 115 yards. I mean, on Prize Picks, his over-under was like 85 yards or 80 yards, something like that. And I smashed that. But give me Stephon Diggs as my elite play. He's going to be my heaviest owned wide receiver for sure. Cortland Sutton in the mid-tier. I've watched too many Broncos games this year, and because they've been on prime time, I'm sick of watching them. And all I see is that he's throwing the ball to Cortland Sutton, man. Just Sutton, Judy, and him having quick. Like Wilson and Judy having quick, but Sutton and him have quick. And then the Raiders secondary not good at covering. They're not providing a lot of pressure as I thought they would be. Just give me Sutton at 6,400. DJ Moore is my mid-value tier. I mean, it kind of sucks saying this, but his 5,300 price tag is kind of alarming to me. This is a guy that's usually like $6,000. He's too cheap. I think he'll get at least 8 to 10 targets this week. But what he does with them is the thing, right? Because the coach, I guess, said something like, "Oh, our wide receiver got to get open," and they asked DJ Moore, and DJ Moore had like that Nick Young, what? You know, like just looking at him. My value wide receiver is Richie James, man. 4,000. Who the hell do they have to throw to, man? It's just him and maybe Kenny Galladay when he gets his like 5 plays a game. I don't know. Like it's fucking ridiculous. You're paying this guy, I think like 80 million, right, or 64 million, and you're only having him go out there for 6 to 10 plays a game. That's if I was the owner, I'd be like, all right, then trade his ass. You know, get a 7th round pick, do something. You know, but if I was the owner, I wouldn't be on this show, guys.
No, I like the Richie James move there. DJ Moore, it's a crime how low he is price-wise, but also he hasn't been a major fantasy producer. The targets are always there. I like DJ. I'm still just hoping for something more there. Any thoughts on those guys that Gerson was talking about, Ben?
Stephon Diggs. I have Josh Allen, Stephon Diggs. What those two running backs we were talking about earlier, all in DFS. I really like the Richie James. He's averaging about like 5 or 6, targets a game, and he's doing something with those targets. So for 4,000, I'm all about Richie James.
Yeah, Diggs is in all my lineups. I'm not even stacking them with Allen. Like I have some with Lamar and Diggs running it back, but I think he's going to smash this week.
I love it.
Yeah.
I mean, Stefan's just easy money always, right?
It is. I mean, it's just he's so fucking talented. Like, just the way he separates, the way he runs his route. Like, I don't necessarily think Diggs is like the fastest wide receiver, but the way he runs his route makes him look fast. You know, like
Perfect combination.
He just knows how to separate. Like he kind of like you guys remember when people were saying OBJ was like the next big thing. The thing that I didn't like about OBJ and that separated me from OBJ to Stephon Diggs is that his route running was just so much crispier than OBJ's. OBJ could separate and get open, but it was because he was so fast and quick. But he wouldn't like honor his route as much as he could. He liked to be more flamboyant, you know?
But I mean, with DJ Moore, he's on the bottom. Like I was debating on even starting him this week in a flex, but I kind of have to just in case because I would hate to see him go off on my bench.
Yeah, I agree.
No, he's one of those talents where the production hasn't been there, but he's so talented where you're just waiting for him to actually hit.
I mean, it could be a Baker Mayfield problem because he seemed to produce last year with Darnold. I think he averaged like 14 PPR points a game, and this year is only averaging 7.
Yeah,
It's definitely Baker Mayfield.
No,
Who are we kidding?
Hold on. I'll have to disagree with this because I looked into that game, I watched that game, and it's their play calling. Like the play calling they're doing is like on third and 8, you do a screen pass. Like, dude, you're not gonna get 10 yards that way. And a lot of the thing was these guys are struggling, not even just on offense. They can't even get to the fucking red zone. I'm not talking about the goal line. I'm talking the red zone. Like they're punting so much, and like if you can't get to the red zone, dude, that means your play calling bad. So we know who the play caller is Ben McAdoo. He's a bad coach. That guy needs to be fired, dude. So
Wackadoo.
Yeah.
And with that in mind, we've got tight ends now. So I know we were talking about Stephon Diggs, that high volume receiver. I mean, it looks like you've got another high volume guy for an offense for your first tight end.
So for tight end, the stud of all studs is going to be Mark Andrews. He's 7,100. He should be priced at 8,100 because that's how he's been performing. I mean, the guy has a ridiculous amount of production this year. Hold on, let me see. There he is. 14 targets in the last 2 weeks. 24 targets in the last 2 weeks. He has over almost 200 yards. 3 touchdowns. Give me that all day for a tight end, man. He has back-to-back 28 points. That's like elite tier production right there, Wide receiver can get you 30 points. Running back can get you 30 points. A tight end getting you 30 points is way different, That's going to elevate your roster to another level because the next highest scoring tight end is probably going to be a guy that gets you like 18, 16,
No, I like Mark a lot. Obviously, if you have him in any league, you took him early. And in DFS, you're going to pay a premium to get him, but he's usually always worth it. It's hard to find weeks. Those are outliers where he doesn't perform to that price. So with your second tight end, I have to ask you there, are you buying into the fact that he can really manage that workload? Specifically Tj Hawkinson, obviously a lot of those wide receivers are out. What are your expectations, hopes there?
Well, I expect Dan Campbell to strategize through his injury. I don't think Dan Campbell is like a dumb coach. He's a player's coach, and he goes to his coaches. He doesn't rely on himself as much as other people think. He's more like, I don't know how to say it, like a cheerleader, But he's like Pete Carroll, He relies on his assistant to make the good calls. But I really do think that Tj Hawkinson, they lost all their wide receiver players. They're going to target him. And here's the thing. I think they're going to be down in this game. I think the Seattle Seahawks will pull ahead. They'll pull up ahead at 21-3. And then the Lions are going to be coming back like they always do. What's their motto? Grit, It's just that's what's going to happen. I promise you. I can almost assure you, if I had money on betting comebacks, I would do that. But I still say the Lions fall short. So the way they're going to come back is by passing the ball, and I think Hawkinson due for a good game at 4,100.
I think an important part to remember too is, as much as we all joke about Jared Goff and, he's not the sexiest QB, he hasn't been that awful this year. He's looked decent. He's been throwing the ball well for, I think, what the preseason expectations were. So with that in mind, I also think on top of Dan Campbell, it makes sense for Jared Goff to work with what he's got and, produce at some sort of level. Because, Jared Goff's been doing good enough all year. They're not just going to be like, hey, now that these wide receivers are out, actually just don't throw it at all. But it looks like Daniel just came into the chat. He said, here we go. He said Freiermuth or Njoku full PPR. We'll address that question more specifically. But I think we kind of have Gerson's answer because of his next tight end here on the list. You want to share that?
Yeah, but I do want to share that. Wow, Jared Goff is not sexy. His girlfriend is. Her name is Kristen Harper. She's fucking hot. But David Njoku, man. Hey, I don't have a wife. Okay, I can say what I want. Yeah, I don't know if you guys do, so I'm not gonna get in trouble for it. David Njoku, man. I actually wanted to take this to Jamie, man. I watched that game last week on Thursday Night Football, I think it was.
Yeah.
And
Yep.
he looked fucking great. Like he was separating. It looked like they were actually designing the plays to go through him sometime. And Brissett looked like more like, I think in the first game or the first two games, he had a problem getting rid of the ball quick. And I think they coached him up to get rid of the ball quicker. And last game with the Steelers, he looked awesome. How did you look at it?
Well, I mean, the first two games they kept him in the block most of the time, and the way to beat the Steelers is through the tight end. So I think that's why they used him more. I still on the fence if they're gonna keep that up or not. I'm just gonna have to wait and see. But I'm trying not to start Njoku just because I can't really trust the Browns and what they do. I learned that throughout the years. But I would probably go Freiermuth against. They're playing the Jets.
Yeah.
Yeah, just in case they might play him 80% of the snaps again, but I just think they're gonna keep Njoku in the block and send out Harrison like they did the first two games.
I mean, it makes sense. I love seeing Njoku finally be used. You're paying him enough. It's nice to see the tight ends that are getting some money actually be utilized. And for the Njoku owners out there or the people putting them in their DFS lineups, it's always great to see those bigger production weeks. Obviously, that was on a Thursday night game, but hey, hopefully that can maintain now because that's going to be some great value for a bit. And with that in mind, too, Gerson, you want to go into your defenses a little bit for us?
Yeah, we got a question from Aaron. I like Aaron. He's actually
let me put that up.
He's He's very active in our DFS roundtable community. He's very active all over the place. He's probably going to cover my ass next week when I'm gone to Vegas. I forgot to tell you guys, but I might not be on the show on Sunday.
Going to a Raiders game?
No, they don't play, sadly. But it's just it's a yearly trip we do with the boys. And, I kind of forgot. And I'll be honest, I'm still on the fence with my personal stuff going on with my family and whatnot. So I told them, hey, I have the money. I can drop money. But the thing is, my life is more important than a Vegas trip. So I'll keep you guys updated. But back to this. He said, favorite Fanduel quarterback play of the week. To be honest, to me, if any of the quarterbacks I mentioned, I'm going with Josh Allen, man. His ceiling on Fanduel is so high because it's the 4-point, it's like the rushing upside, the passing upside. But I just think Josh Allen in there for me has the highest upside. Like I'm telling you guys, I see a smash game from Allen and Diggs. I do want to tell you guys, check the weather. I'm gonna tweet a little bit. I'm gonna go to Ross. His name is WX Ross, which is Roto Grinder's weather update guy. He's amazing, and he usually gives his opinion, and I trust him 100%. Like he's the guy that I go for my weather stuff. Yeah, that's my guy right there. But on defense, okay, guys, defense this week was actually the one position that gave me the biggest headache to narrow down. I couldn't believe it because it was so easy for me in the last couple of weeks. I've been killing it, man. But this week, I think I'm gonna have to do it. I mean, as a avid, strong hater to Zach Wilson, I'm gonna play the Pittsburgh Steelers, man. I don't think Zach Wilson's good. You haven't shown me anything that he's good, and it's $3,600. The price tag is pretty high, but to me, I want turnovers, I want sacks, and I think the Steelers defense might be a little bit under-owned as other people will pivot elsewhere, maybe to pay down. But right now it's coming in at 9% owned. I don't think it's going to be that high. I think it's going to be lower because people are going to want to play the studs,
Do I need to come out here and be the defender of who I like to call the Mormon Mahomes or the MILF Hunter? Pick a nickname. But whoa, it's year 2. He's been hurt. Thank you very much. It couldn't be worse than Joe Flacco. So Hopefully.
Hey, man, Joe Flacco actually wins games, so yeah. Bears defense. This is my favorite defense of the day. I'm gonna play the Bears defense. I already said it that that game's gonna be very low scoring. I don't see that game being any more higher than a 40 over under. Give me the Bears defense 2,700. And now here's a very important tip. If you're gonna play the Bears defense, stack him with Khalil Herbert because if the Bears go ahead, trust me, they're not gonna pass the ball because fucking apparently the coach doesn't know that you can pass the ball in front of the line, I don't know if you know that. I love that fucking quote. I laughed so hard. It was so hilarious to me. I'm like, that's so funny, dude. But, yeah, give me the Bears defense. Stack him with Khalil Herbert. It's very simple. They're facing Daniel Jones. I'm telling you right now, Daniel Jones, when he plays, it reminds me of a high school quarterback that got thrown into the fire, man. Like, he's like, oh, and then he just runs. That's all he does. Like, he doesn't. And the thing is, I understand you don't have, like, elite NFL wide receivers. But shit, there's play design that you can't even complete a hot route, But I like him. The next one this one's more of a contrarian take. It's gonna be very low owned. I haven't heard a lot of people talk about it, and they are at 2%. And I think they can be very cheap, good play, because the Seahawks defense, man, they force sacks and interceptions, and you're facing the Lions. Goff, they're missing all their wide receivers. DeAndre Swift is out. I know people think that Jamal Williams good. I don't think he's like good. I think he's above average. I mean, he's a running back too in a backfield. But give me that Seahawks defense. I think they're at home too, right?
Detroit.
Yeah, they're at Detroit. Oh, okay. But it's just a contrarian take. But those are all my plays right
So what do you think about the Arizona defense going against Panthers? Because I played them in my cash game just because they're going against Baker. Baker takes sacks, throws interceptions.
They're in my player pool. I don't mind them. The thing is, I can only list three positional. I mean, I don't think you guys want me on here for an hour, so yeah. But no, I like the Cardinals. Like I said, the Panthers getting into the red zone, man. Like, be honest. Have you seen the Panthers game on the red zone?
I've watched the games, not on the red zone though. Yeah.
Yeah. So that's what I'm saying. Like, I've watched red zone all year. That's what I watched on Sunday. I watched red zone and then the Raiders game split to my right. But the thing is, like, I started thinking about it. I'm like, damn, that's right. I really haven't seen the Panthers on red zone.
Yeah, might have been one time, the one play where Baker ran it in for a touchdown, but that's all I could think of.
No, yeah, there's not much to recall from their games. I know that much. But I think that's all we got for you today, right, Gerson?
Yeah, man. There's a saying I always say: if you play scared, you're gonna be scared. Like, guys, just trust your gut, man. Just trust your gut. Like, I've had I think last week I had Matt Collins. The guy got 25 points, man. And there's plays that I say on the show that I'm like, fuck, dude. Like, I sweat. Like I'm not kidding you. Like, you see my hair's a little wet right here? It's because I'm sweating because I'm giving you guys some plays that I'm like, DJ Moore. Oh, shit, man. Like, I play the plays that I tell you. Like, you can look. I can show you my rosters, But I have a lot of confidence this week, guys. The one biggest sweat I do have right now is not telling you guys to play Geno and Marcus Mariota because they are really cheap. But I can't see them getting you 30 to 40 points like Lamar, Josh Allen, Jalen Hurts. Or Hurts hasn't touched that 40 point, 35 point ceiling yet, but he will. I'm just nervous for that part, and that's the only thing I'm nervous about this slate. But other than that, I'm confident, I'm happy, I'm ready to go, man. But thanks for having me, man.
No, thanks for joining us. As always, we appreciate your expertise with the DFS. Hopefully, we have you next week. If not, we understand. Um, Make sure to have fun in Vegas if you do go, but we'll definitely miss you.
All right. You guys take care. Have a good time. Bye.
Yeah, you too.
All right,
See
man.
ya.
Luck this
Peace.
week. All right, so there were a few start-sit questions in the chat.
Mhm.
We will address those in a moment. Let me just cover our ad read real quick, and we'll be good to go from there with our start-sit options. So no House Advantage is changing the game by offering the most dynamic fantasy sports platform available today. Play in pick'em style contests versus other people for the shot at winning 150K or more. Download the app, use our promo code GF2, and get a deposit match up to $25. Choose a contest, select your player props, earn points for correct picks, and climb the leaderboard for your shot to win big money every day. You can also test your skills versus the house and 20 times your entry if you hit all your picks. Bet on up to 5 player prop over-unders or individual player matchups across every major sports league, including NFL, NBA, MLB, PGA, MMA, and NASCAR. Again, our promo code is GF2. Use it at nohouseadvantage.com or download the app on the App Store to get a first deposit match up to $25. Make sure to check out No House Advantage today and experience daily fantasy sports redefined, because it's not just how you play, but also where you play. So, with that in mind, are you guys ready to get into some start-sit questions?
Yes, sir.
Let's
All right,
go.
so the first one we have is from Daniel. Daniel was wondering, Gabe Davis, London, DK, pick 2 in a full PPR. So yeah,
All right,
Drake
that-
London, DK Metcalf, or Gabe Davis.
That one's easy for me. I'm going London, Gabe Davis. I think I have them both
Dude.
my top 15, top 20 at least. But DK, I remember I put him like down at the 28, 30 mark.
What
Dude,
about you?
He stole the words right out of my mouth. If he wasn't going to say it first, I was. It's Gabe Davis and London, like all the way. Gabe Davis, I'm counting on Gabe Davis to get a touchdown today. Like, I think that's going to happen. And Drake London has been nothing but great. And I'm going to say the word great because he's a rookie. He's been great here, and I'm going to ride that roller coaster. So let's go.
I love DK. I have him in so many leagues, but it's tough right now to wanna ride him. I have to go Gabe Davis. I don't trust the production consistently with the Atlanta offense. I do like Drake London, but yeah, I got to go Gabe Davis here. I think that's going to be your best pick for that. And if you're picking 2, I want to say DK. There is that boom bust, but London's the safer route, so I'd still probably advise going Davis and London for those 2. And then our other question we had was from V710. Full PPR start 2 at flex. Deontay Johnson, Ezekiel Elliott, Cordero Patterson, and who's now out? Breece Hall or Drake London?
That one's a little tougher for me. I'm taking Zeke out, taking Cordell out. So it's between Johnson, Breece Hall, London. I like Breece Hall getting into more work that we saw him last week. But I'm still going to go Johnson and London because I don't think the Browns have a cornerback that can cover him. Like, he's too tall. They can just throw it right up and he'll catch it.
You said Cordell Patterson's playing, right?
Yeah.
Is he? Oh, okay. For some reason, I thought he was one of the out.
Yeah. If he's playing, I'm picking Cordell Patterson and Drake London. I like Breece Hall. Just Zach Wilson at the helm kind of scares me. I don't know how that's going to go. And Deontay Johnson, he's going to get his PPR points, but I just feel like Drake London could do a little bit better. And I like Cordell Patterson. He's been doing pretty good lately.
Yeah, and Cordero is playing. Yeah, the notification was that, or the status update that it was that he's officially active rather than inactive. I would have to go Cordero and then Breece. I just like, depending on those 2 in those slots, the whole thing with the Jets versus Steelers, I'm in favor of the Jets in that game, and I think it comes down to their defense. Their defenses actually look good, and that's where I get a little nervous about, maybe Mitch and a bad offensive line. I don't see that really helping out Deontay unless they're down, but that's also probably putting too much trust in a run-first offense of New York. So I definitely lean in favor of Cordero and Breece Hall there. Then for another one, we had this one from Joe, and he's wondering, I have a flex spot open, full PPR, Cordero Patterson or Tyler Lockett.
Cordero Patterson.
Yeah, Patterson for me too.
I think same thing that we were just saying about DK before applies to Tyler as well. It's not individually them. It's just as a whole with that team, with that roster around them.
I mean, I like the matchup.
Yeah, the matchup's
matchup.
great, but I don't want to depend on Geno Smith to be the guy facilitating my fantasy points for my receivers.
My point exactly.
And I think Patterson's a safer route there. We also have Jason asking, who's your streaming QB of the week? Who's someone you might be picking up off waivers? Might be trying to just do a quick plug and play. Anyone catching your mind there?
Yeah, I'm in a home league with a bunch of friends. I got Russell Wilson as my quarterback, so I tried to find someone else. I picked up Marcus Mariota, and I'm pretty sure I'm going to play him over Russell Wilson just because I don't know if I could trust Russell Wilson.
He's got to earn that trust back at this point.
Yeah.
And what about you, Ben?
So he already took my Marcus Mariota. So I'm going to try to give you something real quick just by looking at what's on the waiver wire right here. We got Daniel Jones, Mr. Trubisky, Matt Ryan, Geno Smith. I probably go with either Geno Smith or maybe Matt Ryan could have a bounce back week against the divisional Tennessee Titans. So
yeah, I think Ryan has a good matchup.
So I would go either or Geno Smith or Matt Ryan besides Mariota.
Well, I'm on a little bit of a different way. Give me the Mormon Mahomes. I want him. He's back from injury. He's got some weapons. He's got 2 running backs. They let Joe Flacco throw 900 times, it felt like, in a game. And obviously the Steelers have a good defense, but, the weapons are there. There's been some injuries on that defensive side for Pittsburgh. For a flyer, if I'm feeling brave, if you were once high on Wilson like I was, then this is kind of the perfect week because I do see potential opportunity. There is a lot of risk there, but I mean, when you're streaming QBs, you're always facing that risk. I don't know. Oh, and then also we've got another one from Joe. Kelsey or Tj Hawkinson, same setup, so full PPR.
Yeah, I don't know how you can sit Kelsey. You got to go Kelsey. I got them both in the top 5. Hawkinson, I think, is right at 5 just because of the lack of weapons they have. But you can't sit Kelsey.
I mean, if someone came up to me and said, here's $50, sit Kelsey for Hawkinson, I would take the $50. But other than that, I'm keeping Kelsey in. There's no way I'm taking him out.
Yeah, I'm not willing to risk that. But also Gerson, he said I need Jesus after my Zach Wilson. I think it's more of I need the Book of Mormon so I can even more so believe in Zach Wilson. Understand his philosophies with those MILFs out there. He's doing well for himself. He's going to surprise people someday. I'm just waiting for it. I'm hoping for it. I need it to happen in a few dynasties. And in regards to a few start sits, so Jamie, you had one for us. I believe it was a flex spot.
Yeah, it's Zeke Pollard or Allen Robinson. So, yes, full PPR. I don't think I'm going to start Robinson, so I was going back and forth between Zeke and Pollard. Right now, Zeke's at running back 38. Pollard's at running back 24 in PPR. And I think Pollard's averaging way more yards per attempt, so I'm going to take my chance and go with Pollard.
Yeah, Pollard all day. That's the way I'm looking at it. I mean, I can't. Zeke is going to have games where he outperforms Pollard, but I just feel like Pollard, what he can do with the ball is more explosive. So, and who was the other one again?
Allen Robinson.
Yeah. He's just been very lackluster. And keep back and forth. I don't know. I'm not going to take that chance. Put me Pollard.
Yeah, for that one, I have to go. Man, you gave me 3 guys that I'm just notoriously out on or low on. Who else can I pick? You got Nico Collins on the bench. I'll slide him in. No, I would realistically have to go in favor of probably A-Rob, and it's more or less I don't want to pick one rather than the other on the other side with Zeke or Pollard. I don't know. It depends on the week. Like 1 week, one of them really looks like they are the best running back, and then it rotates the next week. And it's funny because usually when the one is cooking, that's when the other one's getting more usage. And that's the part I just don't understand. I'm like, okay, cool. Pollard looks great this week. Let's see him get 20 carries. Come on.
Zeke
And then he
touchdown.
gets 12.
Yeah.
And then Ben, you had wait, let's see. All right, Jason, thanks for joining. And Joe, thank you as well. We always appreciate the questions. Ben, what you had a start sit for us as well. It was Cam Akers, Rashad Penny, or Josh Jacobs. I'm assuming that's an RB2 slot.
It's actually for my flex spot.
Okay.
James Robinson actually got that RB2 spot for me. So now I'm looking at my flex spot, and I have Cam Akers, Rashad Penny, and Josh Jacobs. And I like that Cam Akers, he's looking like the RB1 over there in the Rams right now. He outsnapped Henderson the last 2 weeks, 15 attempts for 2 targets and then 12 attempts for a touchdown. But that 49ers defense got me scared a little bit. I just like Rashad Penny hasn't done nothing yet. Let's just get it out there. Rashad Penny hasn't done nothing yet, but I like the matchup. I feel like Rashad Penny, this could be one of those games where Rashad Penny can get you like a touchdown or two. So I think I might take Rashad Penny. And it scares me to say that, but I think I'm going to take Rashad Penny this week.
Yeah, I do like Rashad Penny this week, but I think I'm going to have to go Jacobs over Penny. I think Jacobs is actually in my top 10. I did play him in a couple DFS lineups. I did play Penny in a few too, but I think Jacobs is going to go off.
I have to go with Josh Jacobs there. It's more or less due to the fact that, every time it seems like the LA Rams make up their mind on the running back position, it goes in favor of the other way. So now that it seems like, oh yeah, it's going back to Cam. Now Darryl is going to be rolling down the field again and be looking like their RB1. So I'm always nervous there. And Rashad, I can't do it with that offense, with how many running backs they have, how many weeks it feels as if they're going to be the one. So yeah,
Josh Jacobs just scares me. He just scares me, man. He just, I don't know. He never produces when I want him to.
Yeah. No, I get it. I mean, I think that same line could apply to all three of them.
Yeah, basically.
Yep.
Yeah, basically.
And so my start sit, this was for a super flex. I was kind of looking at my QB2 slot. I went with Derek Carr versus Denver. But I also have Jared Goff versus Seattle and Brian Hoyer at Green Bay. What are your thoughts there, Jamie?
So it was Jared Goff and who?
Jared Goff, Derek Carr, Brian Hoyer.
Oh man, I'm probably gonna go Derek Carr. I got to go Carr because he's got Waller, Adams.
It's a tough spot. I'll put it this way, because Brian Hoyer I don't think is a good QB, but I mean I got greedy and I took him from any other team. That was my whole
that offensive line though.
Yeah, and Green Bay has a good pass defense. Jared Goff is playing against Seattle, but a lot of his weapons are out. And then Derek Carr is playing against a good defense in Denver. So not really loving any of them right now. Ben, what are your thoughts on those three?
I mean, I got to go with Derek Carr just for the fact that he has Devontae Adams. I mean, Jared Goff really has no one to throw to. And Brian Hoyer, I mean, it's Brian Hoyer. So I got to go with Derek Carr. I have to. Oh, and by the way, Justin Jefferson scored a touchdown.
Yep, I saw that.
Yep, finally. No, I think one of the only leagues I have him in is a team I'm tanking with, so it doesn't really do anything for me, unfortunately.
Yeah.
But once next year, that team is deadly. Can't wait. You better stay healthy. Good old Debbie leagues. All right, Jamie, and for your second start sit, you had Richie James,
Yep.
Chase Claypool, or David Njoku. I'm assuming for a flex.
Yeah, it's one of my flex. Actually, it's a super flex because all my quarterbacks got hurt, so these are my options. I couldn't even tell you which one I chose. I think I put Richie James in there. I think Claypool could have a good game finally, but he hasn't really showed it. I mean, if they play him into flex and just pepper him with targets, I can see him having a good game. But Richie James, he's going to be the number one target on that team. So, especially with Shepard out,
dude, I agree with you.
There. What about you, Ben?
Mm-hmm. Same here, Richie James, 5-6 targets a game, like I said, and he does something with it. So maybe it's a touchdown.
There's so many tough matchups this week where there's question marks around weapons with all these injuries this week, and additionally just really, unfavorable matchups where you would look at this guy getting more opportunity, but they're playing against better defenses, and it's like, well, damn, you're trying to make a case one way or the other, but it's really hard to feel confident in it, I should say. But the one I'd feel best about would be Richie James.
Yeah, and I think this is a league where I get a half a point, a first down. That's why I threw Njoku in there, but I still think I got to go Richie James.
And then, Ben, for your second start sit, you had Romeo Doubs, you had Hollins, and then Duvernay.
Yeah, so Romeo Doubs versus New England, Matt Collins against Denver, Duvernay against Buffalo. It scares me, but I got to go on the Romeo Doubs train, bro. He had 8 targets for 8 receptions, 73 yards, and a touchdown. The Packers threw up special plays, especially for Doubs, just for Doubs. And he was the most explosive wideout the last week. So 21.3 points in fantasy, I believe, in PPR. So I'm going to ride that train. Give me Doubs.
Jamie?
Yeah, I'm going to go Doubs too. I mean, I know you're a Packers fan, so you've seen him play.
I've had him in Debbie. I've had him in Debbie for a while, so
I know you're also a Christian Watson truther. I've heard that all offseason.
It's going to be interesting, that battle.
Yeah. I mean, it was
interesting.
The 2 weapons I wanted to come to Green Bay came to Green Bay, so it was a dream come true. Obviously, Christian's been hurt, but Romeo.
Looking like a man.
I was thinking Duvernay possibly just because that high over under, but I would go Doubs.
Yeah, I like Duvernay's upside with, a potential opportunity for some touchdowns, some targets there, but I still have to go in favor of Romeo. It's just, I think this is just the start of what we're going to see. I know Christian's been in and out with injuries, and then he had that drop in week 1. But I'm really high on long-term what that duo will be. And I mean, we're seeing it a lot from Doubs right now. But, overall, I love kind of the progression we're seeing, the trust that he's building with Rodgers. And, I watch the Pat McAfee show every Tuesday when Rodgers comes on. I listen to all the other podcasts that Aaron Rodgers has been on this offseason. But he really likes both of those young guys, and obviously he's really high on Lazard as well, but Doubs is no stranger to some big games in college. Obviously they have to relearn everything. They have to be humbled at the NFL level, realize, oh, cool, everyone was the star of their team in college. But Romeo is a guy that put up 19 receptions for 200-plus yards in a game last year for college. Like, he's no stranger to just being the workhorse receiver when he had Carson Strong at QB. So, if you're trying to decide between Doubs and Duvernay, I got to go Doubs, because if he's open 10 times, Rodgers will hit him 10 times, and I trust Rodgers' accuracy there. So that's where, if he's not dropping the ball, he's getting open, he's getting the work. So dude, I like that move.
When I drafted him in the beginning of the season, I had high hopes, and I thought that he was going to at least finish a wide receiver 2. That's what I thought. I was like, if I can get this guy really late, have him on my bench until he emerges, he can end up a wide receiver 2. And then he's on. I think that would happen.
He skyrocketed up too much for me, because once he went to Green Bay, there was so many. You're either in or out on Christian, and everyone went in favor of Romeo, and he just skyrocketed up boards where I couldn't get him. But I have him in a few leagues, and I'm loving it though. And so I got another start sit for us as well. That's Nico Collins, Daryl Henderson, or Darnell Mooney in a flex.
Ooh, you want to take this one?
Man, honestly, do I really want to take the chance with Darnell Mooney? Like, I guess the Giants. I mean, if he was gonna go off, that would be the game that he would go off, right? I mean, I would probably go Nico Collins, to be honest with you.
Yeah, I was thinking Nico also.
Nico Collins, yeah. Yep.
I always list it in the order of the guy I ended up playing versus the other options. I looked at it as Nico versus Darnell. Daryl was just going to be a innocent bystander for this one, but
yeah,
Nico is a guy that, I mean, he got the most targets last week, and playing against the Chargers, I think they might have to be putting up points. Obviously, he has that pre-existing chemistry from last year with Davis as well, so I do like Nico. Darnell Mooney, it's tough because I think his production isn't a product of what he's doing. It's a product of what is schemed to him and the quarterback talent. Fields doesn't look good. It's kind of all there is to it. And it's scary to watch because I love Darnell. If you put him as like a wide receiver 2 on a good team, I think he would have a wide receiver 20 year easily.
Yep.
But with his current setup, he doesn't have the physical tools to really stand out and be that dominant, 6'4", 420, speed guy. So, yeah, Nico's my play there. Before we won't even touch our start sit threes, but let's go into the bonus ones, Jamie. I noticed you were talking about a last chance for Russ. You want to explain that?
All right, so right now, Daniel Jones, Baker Mayfield, and Geno Smith all have more fantasy points than Russell Wilson. Like, it's been ugly all year. If it wasn't for that week 1 where he had 340 some yards, I would already be out on him right now. But it usually does take a few weeks for quarterbacks to settle into a new offense, new coach. And this matchup with the Raiders, it gives Wilson a chance to get right, prove himself. So I would start him. Depends on who else I have. Like I said, I sat him for Marcus Mariota, but there's other leagues where I am starting him. And this is his last chance. If he doesn't pull it off this week, he might even go on my waiver wire.
I'll put it this way. I am out. I am concerned. He has looked like he's looked the past 2 years. I've said it before and I'll say it again. People were talking about how he didn't have protection up in Seattle, but he had a good defense and he had good weapons around him. Guess what? He got paid to go to a new team with the same situation, except he doesn't have Pete Carroll as a head coach. Now he has a year 1 head coach. He's got great weapons, a great defense, and a shit offensive line. And, he's not making the right reads on a lot of his first read usually isn't the one that he wants to commit to, and he doesn't have enough time to look for other reads because that pocket's collapsing.
Yep.
So
yeah, and
I'm trying to package Russ with someone on my bench in my super flex leagues saying, hey, here's a big name QB, rough start. Here's another guy, and let me get your QBX.
Yeah, like what you said, like with the pocket collapsing all the time, he doesn't have that rushing upside like he used to. Like those days are behind him.
He's got to think smart too, career-wise. He can't be. As we watch the scrambling QBs mature, we see them, strategically exit the pocket, but not forceful with it. Kyler, Lamar, some of those guys almost do it too much. But as they age, as they mature, they really get more hesitant there because you got to protect your body, your money maker. But Ben, what are your thoughts there? And then after you're done with that, if you want to share your 3-game parlay with us.
The saying "let Russ cook," I think he's just throwing it in the microwave right now. But I dropped him. I think everybody in my leagues, I think all 4 leagues that I'm in right now, money leagues, everybody dropped him. He's on the waiver wire, or someone just picked him up from the waiver wire. Like I lost faith in him. I don't have him in any league, and I don't even have a Broncos player on any of my teams. So, I try to avoid that whole situation. But with my 3-game parlay, I got Arizona, taking Arizona minus 1.5 against the Panthers. That kind of scares me a little bit just looking at that because I feel like the spread on that should be bigger. I feel like Vegas knows something that we don't. Kansas City +1 against the Bucks. I'm going to take that, and Green Bay minus 9.5 against the Pats. Green Bay's not really what I'm worried about. I see that the Bucks they have all their wide receivers back for the most part. Godwin's back. Julio's playing, so it's going to be a tough matchup. I think Kansas City could pick the dub up. They need a bounce back week, so I'm going to take those guys right there for my 3-game parlay.
I like it. I've also got a parlay for us as well. Last week I gave out, I believe it was a 6-legger or a 5, and I missed by 1. It was because I took an alternate. It was 52.5 for the over. I bumped it down to 46.5. Dolphins Bills were the only leg that didn't cover, but I'm back with their alternate over again this week. I've got a 5-legger. I've got the Bills at the Ravens. I took over 46.5, so that's a minus 188. Then I've got the Jets. I took an alternate spread there. I took them to plus 6.5. So as long as they lose by less than a touchdown, that's good for me. And I think that's going to be a defensive-minded game. I've got the Jacksonville Jaguars at Philly. I took the Jags plus 9.5. I think the Jags have shown enough that they're at least competitive. Do I think they win? I don't want to get that risky with it, but hey, if they lose by less than 10, I win. So let me slide that in there. And then I took the Chargers minus 2.5. Got an alternate spread there. I think they'll win against the Texans, but I don't really know by how much. So hey, just give me a field goal. And then
game.
I'd
say it's a divisional game. They're always close.
Yep. And then I've got the Browns at the Falcons. The Browns plus 3.5. I think the Browns win, but again, I wanted to play it safe. And that altogether, I got it at plus 742. So
nice.
Those 5 together, yeah, it's big odds. And I also did the same thing where I took off. Who did I take? I took off the Browns leg, and if it's just the Chargers minus 2.5, Jags plus 9.5, Jets plus 6.5, and an over 46.5 for Bills Ravens, that is still plus 450. So either way, those are definitely great odds. Obviously parlays can get really crazy with how much you could potentially win, but a lot more risk. I like to kind of play the safe route, take the alternates, but usually they pay off. And I mean, hey, I was 1 leg away from turning like $25 of deposit into about 1,000, and I made my money back. So it wasn't a negative week, but it was one Bills touchdown away from doing a heel kick running around while I was in Colorado. And with that in mind, any other subjects you guys wanted to touch on real quick before we wrap it up for today?
I think I'm good.
Yeah. Tony Pollard is getting the over 40.5 rushing yards. I'm telling you this right now. Take Tony Pollard. Take that bet. That's easy money.
He could do that with three touches.
Exactly. So. Easy money. 40.5 rushing yards.
I like your Brees over 17.5 passing yards as well.
Yes, that easy money also.
It's a tricky little parlay right there. I might have to slap some money on that one before
There you go.
Before I just start watching some football. But no, thank you everyone for joining us. Thank you, Jamie, for as always for being a co-host, and thank you, Ben. You can find Jamie on Twitter at Jamie Perog. You can find Ben on Twitter, Dr. F Goods PPR, but you can also find him on TikTok under the same name.
Yep.
And you can find me on Twitter as well at the Big Pellowski. Thank you as always for joining us. We'll be back next week. We'll find out if we have Gerson or someone else doing the DFS portion. But as always, we'll be here every Sunday morning, ready to do the start sits, the DFS lineups, and talking about some bets along the way. But good luck this week to everyone with their fantasy football lineups. Good luck to you boys. Hopefully we can all get some dubs and make some money. Take care.
Let's go.
Let's go.